You're listening to Careers and Cocktails, career talk with a twist, hosted by expert recruiter Renee Frey. Let's get this party started.
Hey party people, welcome back to Careers and Cocktails, and today we are making Chum Struvy's spiked Arnie Palmer, which I've never had this Jeremiah weed. I'm so excited to try it. But first, let me tell you how extraordinary she is. Her background encompasses over 20 years of experience working with companies of all sizes. She has a strong history and reputation of building superior relationships and enjoys providing high-quality service and excellent personal service to the companies and people she serves. Her company, SK Consulting, helps companies enhance their benefit offerings. She is also the host of Club E St. Paul, a community of business professionals who gather to network, share ideas and insights from some of the thought leaders and innovators in the Twin Cities. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get started on the drink, and we brought our famous ice balls, which are in the Tovolo, mold. So we're going to drop those into the glass. And then we need 1.5 ounces of Jeremiah weed, which I've never had, but it comes in this glass bottle. Super fun. So, orange and red. She's pouring it in. She's very conservative. So 1.5 ounces of Jeremiah weed. And then we're going to top it off with lemonade.
Okay.
And we are using Florida's Natural Lemonade. And on the bottom it says, all profits donated to Alex Lemonade Stand. Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So we're topping it off with that. We're going to throw a little lemon to garnish to make it look cute on the glass rim. And what can we celebrate for you today?
My new company.
Cheers to new companies. And let's have it taste. I've never had this before. You said you've never made it. You've only had it at the bar.
I've only had it at the bar. It's really good. It's easy. Two ingredients.
It tastes like lemonade. It tastes like an Arnold Palmer, which is so good. This would be way too easy to drink in the summer.
Right.
I'd be wasted. So for another variation, we read that you could add soda water to this concoction to add a little bit of flair with some bubbles, or fresh fruits.
Yeah. So no cal if you just do soda water.
Perfect.
If you care about that.
Right, exactly. So Chum, how did we meet?
We met in 2005 when I started my recruiting career.
Yeah.
Coming back from having my second kid, I think.
Oh, really? So did you take time off before with your second child?
I did. Yes. I can't remember. I had in that period of time I had a whole bunch of kids, and I can't remember when I.
You make it sound like you have an army of kids. She has 3 children. She doesn't
That's
have
a lot for me. So, but no, I can't remember. But I know. I remember. Okay, I remember now. So I left accounting. I left Lawson Software.
Yeah.
When the .coms crashed, and then I did have a kid, and then I had 2 kids, and then because my middle daughter is 2004, and I did come back after my second kid. That's right. I was right. I sometimes I can't remember, but
yeah. And we worked downtown, and she was phenomenal recruiter, highest integrity, and I loved working with you.
Yeah,
it was super.
We had fun.
Super fun. But we fell out of touch for a while. We had a little misunderstanding after I exited the company. And how many years after did you reach out to me, which I'm so grateful for to this day?
I know. It's a good lesson, actually. I would say at least 2 years. Don't you think?
2 years after?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, and I forget, did you call me or text me? I can't remember, but she reached out and said, hey, I know we haven't spoke to each other in a long time, but I'd love to get together for lunch.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then at lunch, you brought up some things that you thought that, the conflict between us. And I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
Right.
That is not how I see it.
Exactly.
And we totally got the air out, and now we stay connected, which is so important, right?
Right. And yes. So I don't know if you're talking about lessons, but
Absolutely.
lessons is don't in your head form all these assumptions and things. Just talk it out. But I knew in my heart that you were great to work with, that you were very good at what you do, and you were a good person. And I knew that I've always known, but I didn't do anything about it, and I kind of just let it fester. And I'm just like, it's time to be done with this.
Right.
So
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. To
Right.
reconnecting. It's so great. So pretend I'm a kindergartner, just like your kids. Well, they're not kindergartners anymore, but sitting in my little class. Mm-hmm. Explain to me what you do for a living.
The simplest form, I think, is that I help companies grow by helping them help their employees help their families.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit more about that, because I know in the past you represented Legal Shield and helped companies support them through that. But how is your new company expanding that?
Sure. So I did start with offering to companies only the Legal Shield offering, which helps companies and employees with identity theft and legal protection. But as I was talking to companies, I just knew that there was a lot more that employees needed help with in protecting their whole entire lives and families. But I actually had to get a license, which I finally did this year. So I was prevented from doing that until I got a license.
Cheers! How did you get licensed? You have to take a test?
Yeah, you take a test, take a class. And so it's always hard to take time to do self-development, especially a week off from work and take testing. But I finally just forced myself to do it.
Congratulations.
So, thanks.
And Chum, what did you want to be when you grew up?
The funny thing is, totally true, I really did want to be an attorney.
Really?
Yeah. I ended up getting an accounting degree, but I thought attorneys, I don't like legalese and reading contracts. I mean,
who does? I hate it.
Some people do, but
right. We are grateful for those people.
I knew back then, I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, that is so funny that I did land with Legal Shield, because I think I value the service. I definitely do value the service. I just never want to do the work.
Sure.
Just want someone else to do it.
Right. I love it. So are there any companies that you've always wanted to secretly work for?
I never had a chance to, and every single time one of them becomes my client, I am so envious. Like, what would it be like to work here? Just any company that calls themselves a top employer. Like,
that win the awards?
Yeah, they get it. Like,
right.
They know that treating their employees is a good thing.
Right.
You don't have to convince them, like, hey, there's value here for you. They just want to, and they understand that there is value to them as a company, but they just want to do it.
Absolutely.
So
you've pivoted a lot. Accounting, recruiting, now your own business. How have you been able to continue your success through all those different career transitions?
Well, I just haven't been scared. Like, nobody's going to prevent me from doing it. If I fail, I fail. But I knew I wasn't happy in accounting. It's just not me. It's a great field. It's just not me.
Sure. Boring
to me. It's my husband's still an accountant. So, but I just changed until I'm adventurous. I'm not scared to try things. And even if I fail, it's not the end of the world. You can pivot again.
Right. But there are so many people that are scared. So what can you share with your attitude and your beliefs? What can you share to our listeners to take that step and take that risk?
I just do it, because I think what happens, especially when I was a recruiter, you kind of have to be forced to do it, because I was laid off like many people. And instead of going back to what you originally do, take that time to try something different. You're there.
Right.
And I think a lot of people start their companies at that time. And it's scary and you leaving a company, but when you're there, it's a great time to do it. Like, try something you've always wanted to try. You're there, and don't go back just to the same old because you want stability. Try to find what's in your heart and what you is new for you.
Sure. And tell me, what's your craziest recruiting story? Do you need a refill? We might need a refill. It's so easy to drink. Chum's
Should I drink yours?
spiked.
You're talking.
We give you a refill.
Thanks for taking time to refill my drink.
Chum spiked Arnie Palmer that she needs a refill. That's fantastic.
Okay, so what's your question?
What is your craziest recruiting story you can share? Because we know we have 5 million of them.
Okay, so my favorite story actually that I tell about my recruiting days is that, and this is just about persistence. So I called a candidate. It was when SEC was hot, 2005.
Oh gosh,
right?
you're taking us back.
I called this company from Donaldson. I called this hot, young, up-and-coming SEC person from Donaldson for 2 straight years.
2 years.
2 years. I wasn't like annoying or anything, but like regularly I would call her and never responded to me, emailed me or anything. And I call myself, I am good at being persistent, but I'm never annoying. Like I don't call like every week or anything. Just like every few months or whatever.
Sure.
And out of the blue, she calls me, she goes, "Hi, my name is Laura. You've been calling me for 2 straight years. I'm ready now." I was like, yeah. And I placed her like the next month.
Of course.
I was like, right.
That's awesome.
Right. I was like, God, it does really work. Like, people do really listen to my voicemails.
Oh, yeah, they do. They're not ignoring you, but they don't want to change jobs yet.
Right. Exactly.
So they don't return
I
your
didn't
phone
give
calls.
up, and I just kept on calling. I'm like, why not?
I love that. Well, I'm sure you had an edge, though, coming from being in accounting, and then you were recruiting accounting and finance people. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that background when I got
I could have given up, though. I mean,
True.
after 6 months, I could have stopped calling. I'm like, she's not interested. But I just kept on calling her.
I love it. And it worked out in the end. I love that. So what do you feel is the most telling interview question to ask candidates when you're hiring?
So when you learn a lot interviewing people. And what I've learned for myself, for my 3 kids, my 3 girls that I'm raising, is that people, and it really saddened me that people could not articulate how good they were. And so you can get the same resume, same experience, and you just know it when you just feel it. Like on paper, the 2 candidates are exactly the same, but one can sell themselves and articulate why they should, and the other can't.
Absolutely.
And the other one who can articulate what they bring to the table, they never win, and they fail in their careers, and it saddens me a lot. So, yeah.
I agree. It's always
just tell me about yourself, but you have to be positive and really tell me about yourself, about what you've accomplished.
That's your one shot is the interview. Your one shot to tell them what you've done and be proud of. And there's that fine line, right? Mm-hmm. Between confidence and arrogance. And most people aren't arrogant, but you have to be able to speak to the contributions you've made at your current employer and previous employers.
Correct.
So that the new one wants to bring you on board.
Sure. And it runs in my family. Like my brother does that, and he's one of those candidates that... Really?
He can't sell himself?
No.
Oh.
He finally did do it, and he did get promoted, but it took him a long time to practice interviewing. Right. And I'm like, you don't have to tell us all your bad faults. The company doesn't tell you what their faults are.
No, they
faults.
don't.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
They're putting on their sales hat on why ABC Company is the best company to work for. And that's how all the employees are happy.
That's right. That's
exactly.
Right.
So I always tell everyone, it's not the best candidate who's qualified. It's whoever interviews the best will get the job. Mm-hmm. So great lesson. So from sitting on the recruiting side of the table, what would be your advice to candidates during an interview? Besides being able to articulate your accomplishments and have confidence, what else should they be speaking about?
Well, I was thinking about this. As you know, LinkedIn is very important.
Yep.
So I have teenage girls, and they're starting to prepare for college. They already have LinkedIn profiles.
Wow.
And I have them...
Cheers, Chum.
Yeah, I have them document on LinkedIn their accomplishments.
Awesome.
Like it's ready to go, because you forget.
Right.
So you have to formulate stories, short stories, to articulate what you've accomplished, to be confident in yourself. And again, like you said before, you are the only person that's going to tell that company what you bring to the table. No one else is going to. And the other candidates will as well.
Absolutely.
So you are going to lose if you don't.
Absolutely. And how did the skills you gained as a recruiter help you in your current role today?
In my current role, again, just selling yourself. I to this day struggle with selling myself sometimes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, because I'm always worried about, being arrogant, or I'm just worried about things. But I'm always getting better at that. But I noticed that, like I said, in the interview process, that you have to sell yourself.
Right. Exactly. So you brought Club E to St. Paul. Tell us about Club E and what is it like to speak in front of large people?
People laugh so much when I tell them I hate it.
You do?
I hate it. I hate it every minute. I
do?
love Club E. I don't like public speaking.
Yeah, but you look like you're owning it
I
up there,
know.
Chum.
For the first 6 months, I literally was shaking.
Really?
So I'm better now, but I don't like public speaking. And there's videos of I still haven't watched them. I can't stand them. I'm like, oh, I can't watch that. Is that funny?
Well, I got to tell you a story. You may not know this. So when I went to Target, I saw myself as moving up through the company and wanted to get promoted. And I realized I was going to have to public speak and command large groups of people if I wanted to get promoted.
Right.
And I was terrified of public speaking.
Exactly.
So I joined Toastmasters.
Yeah, I need to do that, I think.
Which helped me, but to a certain extent, that helped me get rid of the fear.
Yeah.
And then I took it to another level and did power talk training that Target paid for on my behalf, where the video camera's in front of your face.
Right.
And that's where I learned a whole different set of speaking. But that's my little secret is I didn't like public. I was terrified of it, but I worked through that fear.
I could definitely work through it more. And I believe you can learn anything. You just have to take time to do it. And I haven't taken the time. And I enjoy doing it once I start to feel comfortable. But, there's a part, I think everybody, there is some nervousness for everybody. So
right.
I'm very proud of myself that I do it anyway. So I'll say that.
Cheers to that. Absolutely.
Right. So
absolutely.
That's all I can say. Every day, every time I get up there, I hate it, and I do it anyway because I know it's good for me, and I've gotten better. And
that's
I could
awesome.
I can get even better, but I have grown in the last 4 or 5 years.
The people watching you have no clue that you hate it.
Except when I keep on telling them.
Yeah, don't stop telling them. Stop telling them.
Right.
How did you bring Club E to St. Paul? Tell me about that process. Because they have a Minneapolis outfit, right?
Right. So I think it's a great story because I think that's what Club E is all about, networking. Mm-hmm. So when I left my last company, I was sitting at a Club E event, and I thought, this is really cool. Rick and I knew mutual people, the founder, and but we didn't really know each other really well. And I'm pretty open book, and I just shared with him, I'm thinking about starting this, and he's like, oh, well, let's just have coffee because I'm looking to open other locations. And we had coffee, and he was a great guy, and the power of networking.
Absolutely.
We met and liked each other, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is good. This is a good partnership, and it's been really, really fun.
How many years have you been doing it now?
We just started September. It's September through June. Just started our 5th year.
Wow. Yeah. Cheers to that. Oh my gosh.
I know. I can't believe it. I mean, it feels like 2, 3. But
it's like me. I'm going on 5 years of business. It
exactly.
blows my mind. How do you, with Club E, how do you sustain new topics, speakers, and attendance at your events?
Just like recruiting or interviewing, I'm always promoting it. You do have to spend some time promoting it. I'm always looking for good speakers and through networking, finding good people. People refer speakers to me, but I'm always on the lookout for someone that's interesting and that can bring value to my audience all the time.
Awesome. Yeah. And what's your biggest networking tip you can share with our listeners?
I don't know if it's a tip, but I naturally, I think one of my strengths, and I don't know if you can develop or not, I really do just want to learn about the other person. I just want to listen.
I love people. I'm so passionate about people.
I could do that all day long.
Me too.
I know.
Can we find someone to pay us for that? We'll just be professional networkers.
Exactly. So I just listen to the other person. You don't know what they're going to be like or what their issues are or what their business is all about. Or, even if you try to read on LinkedIn, which I always do, research on LinkedIn and try to research about them, but you just never know what their story is and how they got there and what they're pursuing and what's in their family lives, and it's always fun.
So fun. And your career journey led you out of recruiting. And tell me, how did that share why and how did you transition out?
So like you said, I am able to pivot, but so what I learned from recruiting is that if you do something for a certain amount of time, like over 7 years, you can get pigeonholed into that industry. And I was not sure at the time that I wanted to be in that space permanently.
Sure.
So I started to learn, and recruiting is sales and a lot of other things, but I wanted to try to sell a product. So I just tried different things. So I don't think I'm answering your question, but why did I get out of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, two main reasons why I got out of it. I did want to develop my sales ability in selling a product versus a service.
Sure.
Was number one. And I think recruiting is a really hard job. I was really good at it, but like everything that people know about me, I want to deliver. And there's a lot of pressure to deliver a candidate very quickly. And I wasn't sure that I could do that. With some of the companies that I've been at or on my own. So I kind of gave up. So just because I am so focused on companies needing, when they call you, wanting their candidate very quickly.
Absolutely.
And I was afraid I couldn't deliver. And there's a lot of pressure behind that. And I didn't want that pressure. Like either I deliver or I don't, or I'm not going to say that I don't deliver.
I'm not going to go into the best integrity, Chum.
Exactly.
But going back to, you mentioned the 7-year mark. I tell people all the time, if you are at one company for 10 years,
exactly,
you either hang your hat and you say you're going to be there forever, or you need to figure out your exit strategy and what's next, because there are companies out there that will think that you're not open to change. Mm-hmm. You're not willing to learn new things.
Yeah.
And so that's spot on with the 7 years, because you will get pigeonholed. And like you've had multiple different careers, which I think is fantastic, because you don't let anything stop you. You're like, I want to do that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That's what more people should do.
Yeah.
Be like Chum, people. So what's the best advice you've ever gotten career-wise?
Career-wise, again, I keep on pounding on this, but being confident in who you are and selling yourself in everything that you do.
Sure. So were you born confident?
I joke about this. Absolutely not. I was born the opposite of confident. So I call it the trifecta. So I was born in a Catholic family, right? Asian, and a woman. None of those groups value confidence or tooting your own horn or any of those. And I am against that now. And I teach my girls to be confident in what they've accomplished, not to be arrogant.
Right.
But it's okay to be to be happy about what you've accomplished and to share your accomplishments publicly, for sure.
Absolutely.
So no.
So then how did you become, when did you learn to be confident?
I'm getting better and better, but I'm still growing, I think. I mean, I just learned that I would lose against people who were clearly not competent, and I was seriously, I mean, I knew I was 3 to 5 notches above them and they would win for some reason. I'm like, that's just not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, and I remember, so me, because if I had a superpower, I would give everyone in this world, men and women, confidence.
I know.
I would totally, and I'm trying to figure out how to teach it to people.
I was going to talk to you about this after that. So I was talking to a really cool guy, Vikas. You know Vikas, right? I introduced you to Vikas.
Oh, yeah.
And he is really about finding out who you are. And that, he asked me, if you had no worries about money at all, you had all the money in the world, what would you do? And I would help people with their confidence, especially women.
You and I are the same.
I know.
But I go back, because, I have 2 young daughters.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And I was asking my very confident female friends, how do you think you're so confident? When did you realize you were confident?
Right.
All this stuff. And it all seems to go back to their mothers, who complimented them every day, supported them every day, gave them accolades for the things that they did.
Sure.
Well, and my mom is deaf, as you know. So
Right.
I grew up, American Sign Language was my first language. And I grew up having to interpret for my mom in certain situations. And I saw her face some discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to step out of myself, even though I was nervous.
Right.
And I would had to interpret for her with these adults. And I think that coupled with my mom, and it's funny because all the messaging you hear people tell parents, oh, don't talk to girls about how they look. My mom always talked to me about how I look. She would say, I love your earrings. I love your top.
Oh,
your hair
really?
looks nice today. It was all about my looks. And I still became extremely confident. But for me, what I think as I've grown as a woman through continuing to better myself
Right.
and learning, doing more growth mindset things,
Right.
is that I don't mind what people think of me.
Yeah.
Truly and honestly.
Right.
I do mind what my little family thinks of me.
Right.
But I don't mind what other people think of me. And that's how I just keep standing tall and walking strong, because it's from all of that.
Right. I think that's an interesting topic because what I tell my girls is that I don't mind that you invest in fancy clothes or jewelry or whatever you want to make yourself feel good, because looking good helps you feel good and positive.
Absolutely.
You're not going to do it for anybody else except yourself, and that's okay, but not for other people. I'm not going to pay for fancy clothes because you're trying to impress somebody else.
Right.
For you, it's a good thing to look good.
Absolutely. So what I've been doing at night so my oldest won't listen to this. I do, I give her positive words of affirmation at night. My youngest I do this with because...
How old are your kids again?
7 and 9.
Okay.
So I've been doing this with my 7-year-old for over a year. And we'll read books, sing songs, and then I will tell her, you are smart, and she has to repeat it.
Yeah.
You are brave. She repeats it.
That's
You're
awesome.
beautiful. You are kind. You can be anything you want to be in this world.
Right.
You're the only Elena Frey in this world, and I love you just the way you are. And she has to repeat it saying I.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've seen this work because we were sitting in the car, and she's very shy.
Yeah.
And I can tell, has anxiety.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the car, and she has to go to an event with a bunch of kids. And you can tell she's nervous. She's like, Mom, will you walk me in? I'm like, no, honey, it's time to go. And then I hear her whisper, I'm brave. And she gets out of the car. I'm like, it's working.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I did that because the subconscious mind is totally open when we're children, right? And it closes off around age 7, where we believe everything that's being told to us.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of our crazy mindset comes from. When we're older, we're working through all this bullshit that people told us that we believed.
Right.
And so I thought if I could get it in there soon enough, then maybe she won't
Good for
have
you.
this negative,
That's awesome.
talk in her brain and all that.
Right.
So hopefully it'll work.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people start doing, learning about the mind and how it is so powerful in their lives.
Right.
Later.
Absolutely.
In their lives. And I'm trying to teach that to my girls now as well.
Me too.
Yeah. So because we took forever to figure that out on our own.
I was in my mid-30s. I was like,
why can't we teach that sooner? Right.
it should be in class.
Right, exactly. Along with interviewing skills and
networking.
LinkedIn. Yeah, exactly.
How to sharpen your LinkedIn.
Who cares about all that technical stuff?
So what's the best advice you can give to our listeners, Chum?
So, similar to Club E and I teach my girls, your network is everything.
It is.
Your relationships are everything. Every contact, I want you to make a good impression to. I mean, you want to do a good job anyway, and keep them, ask for references, and make sure they're in your LinkedIn network.
Yeah.
And just do the best job you can, but be proud of it and ask to keep your relationships and ask them to give you references and accolades so that you can be proud of what you've done and keep that relationship, because you'll have that relationship forever.
Absolutely. And just like we did, we rekindled ours, which I'm so grateful for.
Yeah.
Thank you so much in sharing awesome value bombs and being vulnerable with me. Where can we find you? Where can our listeners find you?
Of course, on clubby.com. I'm in the St. Paul location, and on LinkedIn, of course. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm the only Chum Struve in the world.
That's fantastic. Did you buy the .com?
I did. But CHUM, and there I am.
Awesome. I love it. Well, this has been a great episode. For all of you hiring leaders, if you're interested in finding the best secrets to hiring the best people, go to careersandcocktails.com and download your free hiring guide. And for all of you job seekers who are hating your Mondays, you can go to the same website to learn where to purchase my book, I Hate Mondays. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss an update. Cheers!
Thanks for having me.